When people talk about aging, they often describe it as a slowing down, as if life begins to shrink once we cross the threshold of 60. But that's not how life works. After 60, something remarkable happens. There's a new clarity, a new appreciation for time, and a desire to make the years ahead meaningful, peaceful, and financially secure. The trouble is, money worries often refuse to slow down with us. They sneak into our mornings, follow us through the day, and sit heavily on us at night. Many people think that stress about money is unavoidable at this age, but the truth is, with the right mindset and practical habits, you can widen your life instead of letting fear narrow it. And that's exactly what this video is about. A set of 5 simple, realistic, deeply practical financial secrets that can help you stop worrying about money after 60 and start focusing on living. Before we get to the strategies, it's important to recognize something that most people don't hear often enough. You've already done the hard part. You've lived through decades of decisions, surprises, mistakes, recoveries, and growth. You've built resilience. You've navigated chapters that a younger version of you couldn't have imagined. What comes next should not be about fear. It should be about using what you know to take control. These 5 secrets aren't about chasing wealth or reinventing your financial identity. They're about shaping a stable, calm, predictable future where money supports your life instead of dominating your thoughts. The first shift is understanding the role of liquidity. Many people over 60 were raised with the belief that debt of any kind is bad and that paying it off should be the top priority. It comes from another era, when interest rates were high and cash savings earned almost nothing. That world has changed. What really protects you today isn't just being debt-free, it's having cash accessible when you need it. Liquidity is flexibility. It's peace of mind. It's the ability to respond to life instead of fearing it. Think about it this way. Imagine having a small mortgage with a low interest rate. You could take all your savings and pay it off. On paper that looks great, your debt disappears. But what happens the moment your roof needs repair, or you suddenly face medical bills, or your car breaks down, or your kids need help? The money you used is now stuck inside your house. You still have it, but you can't easily get it back without refinancing or selling. Stress multiplies quickly because emergencies don't wait for paperwork. That's why the first secret to stop worrying about money after 60 is to prioritize liquidity instead of pouring all your resources into eliminating low-interest debt. It's not about choosing debt, it's about choosing access. Having money available gives you room to breathe. It allows you to handle surprises without panic. And more importantly, it prevents you from being forced into poor decisions, like selling investments during a downturn, accepting a bad loan, or draining all your savings at once. Think of your cash like the cushions on a chair. If they're too thin, every bump hurts. But when the cushion is thick and supportive, the bumps of life don't hit nearly as hard. Liquidity is your financial cushion. It protects you from the shock of the unexpected. And after 60, comfort matters more than perfection. Peace matters more than being able to brag that your house is fully paid off. What matters is your ability to respond confidently to life's surprises, not simply to eliminate numbers on a balance sheet. Once you understand the importance of liquidity, the second secret becomes easier to manage, gaining control over your spending while planning for inflation. Inflation doesn't shout. It doesn't knock loudly at your door. It grows quietly, slowly, almost invisibly, until you suddenly realize your grocery bill, your insurance premium, your power bill, and your basic daily expenses aren't what they used to be. And because inflation creeps up over years, not days, many people don't prepare for it until it's too late. After 60, you aren't just budgeting for next year, you're budgeting for your next decade or two. But this doesn't mean you need to restrict yourself or cut away all the joys in life. What you need is clarity. When you take a close look at your spending, you start to see patterns. You start to see what truly adds value to your life and what quietly drains your money without giving you anything meaningful in return. Some expenses are essential: healthcare, housing, food. Others are optional, things you enjoy but can adjust if needed. And then there are the flexible expenses, the ones that are nice to have but not worth stressing over. When you categorize your spending this way, you gain power. You're no longer guessing. You're not drifting through the month hoping things balance out. You're steering the ship. And when you steer deliberately, inflation loses some of its power. You already know where your money goes. You already know where you can adjust. It becomes easier to build a buffer fund specifically designed to absorb the rising cost of living. This buffer doesn't need to be huge all at once. It grows over time. Think of it as a quiet guardian that sits beside you, making sure future you doesn't have to worry about whether next year's bills or medical costs will overwhelm your budget. When you combine spending awareness with a slow-growing inflation cushion, you create stability. You create predictability. And most importantly, you create confidence. With this foundation in place, with liquidity giving you flexibility and spending awareness giving you clarity, you're ready for the third financial secret, strengthening your reliable income streams. Too many people rely on one major source of income in retirement. It might be a pension, it might be social support, it might be savings, or it might be a rental property. But depending heavily on just one stream can turn into a major source of anxiety because life doesn't stay still. Markets move. Health shifts. Family needs appear unexpectedly. Relying on a single source means that if something changes, your entire financial stability trembles. Creating or maintaining multiple small, steady income streams is far more secure than depending on one large one. It's like using several ropes to hold a heavy weight. If one rope weakens, the others still support you. Even modest income sources can make a huge psychological difference. Dividend payments, rental income, a small part-time activity you enjoy, or even interest from safe investments. Each one adds another layer of protection to your financial life. But beyond the money itself, these income streams give you something more intangible yet incredibly valuable: freedom. When you know that your life isn't built on one fragile pillar, you feel lighter. You make decisions from a place of calm rather than fear. You become more flexible with your budget, more optimistic about your future, and more willing to say yes to experiences that enrich your life. Strengthening income isn't about working harder. It's about working smarter, using what you already have and setting it up to support you in the most stable way possible. When you combine steady income streams with liquidity and spending clarity, something shifts inside you. You begin to feel secure. You begin to feel capable. And financial anxiety, the kind that used to follow you everywhere, starts to loosen its grip. This sense of stability is the doorway to the next secret, which transforms how you think about investing after 60. But before we explore that, take a moment to notice how these first three principles connect. Liquidity keeps you safe in the short term. Smart spending protects you in the medium term. And diversified income supports you in the long term. Together they form a base, a calm, balanced foundation from which you can prepare for the next stage of financial peace. As you settle into this foundation of flexibility, clarity, and steady support, you're ready for the fourth secret, shifting your investment approach toward protection rather than chasing aggressive growth. When you're younger, investing is often about ambition. You take risks. You experiment. You aim for big returns because time is on your side. Losses are inconvenient, but they're manageable because you have decades ahead to rebuild. After 60, the value of time changes. It becomes more precious, more personal. Your money should now protect you, not expose you to sleepless nights. That doesn't mean you should stop investing or pull everything out of the market. It means the purpose of your investments evolves. Instead of asking how you can grow your wealth quickly, you begin asking how you can preserve it reliably. This shift isn't about fear, it's about wisdom. Capital protection at this stage doesn't require complex formulas or sophisticated strategies. It starts with one simple idea: avoid unnecessary volatility. The wild ups and downs of high-risk investments might have been exciting once, but now they carry emotional and financial consequences that aren't worth the adrenaline. High-risk investments can drop sharply at the wrong moment, and the pressure of waiting for a recovery can weigh heavily on your mind. The smoother path often lies in stable, income-generating assets, quality bonds, balanced income funds, or reliable savings products with guaranteed returns. These tools don't skyrocket, but they don't collapse either. They help you maintain a predictable, calm financial environment where your money works steadily behind the scenes. Predictability may sound boring, but at this stage of life, predictability is power. It's the opposite of stress. It frees your mind to focus on living. Some people worry that shifting towards safer investments means they'll miss out on growth. But the goal now isn't to beat the market, it's to make sure the market never beats you down. A stable portfolio gives you control. It supports your income streams. It lightens your emotional load. And when you're not living through the fear of big losses, you gain back something priceless, your peace. All these changes, maintaining liquidity, understanding spending, strengthening income, and protecting capital, lead us naturally to the fifth and final secret: planning early for healthcare and legacy matters. This part is often avoided or postponed because it feels uncomfortable. But avoiding it never reduces the weight. It only pushes the stress into the future, where it grows heavier. The truth is that healthcare becomes one of the most significant expenses as we age. Not because we're weak, but because the body changes and requires more consistent attention. Planning for medical needs early isn't pessimistic. It's responsible. It means setting aside funds, understanding your coverage, and calculating the gaps so that when something happens, you're prepared instead of overwhelmed. A long-term healthcare plan might include supplemental insurance, savings earmarked for medical costs, or even simply reviewing what support programs you qualify for. Planning doesn't solve every problem, but it removes the panic. And when panic disappears, decision-making becomes calm, clear, and grounded in reality instead of fear. Then there's the part that very few people want to talk about: legacy planning. But this step, more than almost anything else, brings a profound sense of peace. Creating essential documents like a will, financial directives, or medical instructions isn't about preparing for the end, it's about protecting the people you love. It prevents confusion. It prevents conflict. And it ensures that your wishes are carried out exactly the way you intend, without burdening your family with hard choices during emotional moments. Legacy planning also gives you a chance to design your final chapter in a way that reflects your values. It's not merely a legal task, it's an act of love. It's a gift of clarity. And once you have these pieces in place, you often feel a weight lift off your shoulders in ways you didn't expect. As you bring all 5 secrets together, something powerful happens. Your relationship with money transforms from reactive to intentional. Instead of worrying daily about what might go wrong, you begin to feel prepared for what life may bring. You begin to see your future with less fear and more possibility. You stop imagining worst-case scenarios and instead focus on what brings meaning, joy, and connection. The beauty of these secrets is that they aren't about becoming wealthy or chasing status. They're about building a life where money supports your choices rather than dictates them. They guide you toward a lifestyle filled with confidence and calmness. They help you feel that you're not at the mercy of economic forces or unexpected expenses. Instead, you stand on a foundation built deliberately, thoughtfully, and wisely. And once money stops being a constant source of anxiety, something magical happens. Your attention shifts back to what matters most. You find more time for relationships, hobbies, health, and memories. You rediscover the sense of possibility that life still holds, no matter your age. You realize you're not just preparing for retirement, you're preparing for living. These 5 secrets are not theoretical concepts. They are tools you can use today. Start by keeping more cash on hand and avoiding the temptation to lock up all your money just to eliminate low-interest debt. Review your spending with curiosity rather than judgment, and build a quiet cushion to protect against rising costs. Strengthen your income sources so you're never relying on one fragile thread. Shift your investments towards stability so your wealth becomes a calm, reliable partner. And give yourself the deep comfort that comes from preparing your healthcare and legacy thoughtfully. With each step, you build a life where fear shrinks and confidence grows. Your days become lighter. Your choices become clearer. And your future becomes something you can look forward to, not something you're bracing for. After 60, money doesn't have to be a cloud hanging over your head. It can be the wind at your back. A steady, supportive force that helps carry you into the next chapter of your life with strength, freedom, and peace. You've earned that peace. You've earned the right to live without constant financial worry. And with these 5 secrets, you're not just reducing stress, you're reclaiming your future.